What is it like being a Jamaican in Zimbabwe? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com. And today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Andres Castro, a Jamaican living in Zimbabwe. Welcome, Andres. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Xavier. And how are you as well?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I am so happy to finally get Zimbabwe. There's so much history, so much I'm waiting to learn and talk about. But let's jump into which part of Jamaica you come from.
Well, I'm a Kingstonian by birth. You know,
All right.
born and raised in Kingston.
All right. And are you representing any high school in the Kingston area?
Well, the difference is I moved to Mandeville, Manchester. So I went to West Indies College High School and did a stint at Knox College as well. So,
Anoxie.
yes.
All right. So tell us your story. How did you get to Zimbabwe?
So it's through a job through a mutual friend of mine. I was offered the job probably about 3 years ago. Didn't really take it until a friend of mine who is an African, I call him my Kenyan brother, um, decided to say, it's time you go back to the motherland. And being that Jamaica and Zimbabwe had loads of history, it was time for me to venture.
Nice, nice. So you dropped right into the loads of history. Talk to talk to us. Tell us a little bit about what you have learned, living there about the Jamaican history and how the Jamaican people are viewed there.
I would say Jamaicans are highly respected and very highly viewed here in Zimbabwe. As soon as people find out you're Jamaican, Patois, people here speak Patois. Also, they're very into dancehall, big. They know all the latest songs, all the latest artists, and so on.
So the one story that always comes back to me when I hear the country Zimbabwe. I have a friend from there also is Bob Marley, the performances that he did there when the
Yeah.
country gained independence, and
Yes.
and also the story of on the way there where Prince Charles wanted to meet him, and I don't know if you've heard all these stories and people
Well,
have actually been.
Well, there's a good friend of mine I need to sit with because he was here within that time. So I still have a few more catching up to do with him when I'm not busy to go through all those musical histories with Zimbabwe and Bob.
Okay, okay. So on the people itself,
Mhm.
what are the people like? Are they warm? You have to get to know them for a little bit. Are they up? We're a little different as Jamaicans. Sometimes I say we're upfront, we're gonna tell it like it is, and so on. So what are the people in Zimbabwe like?
Um, Very warm and very friendly. Even to the point where they have what we would call their garrison, which they considered Bari here or Umbari. I've been down to Bari, and I people have given me the big misconception. But being a Jamaican as I am, when I went to Bari, the as I say, the ghetto youths, they came up and they found out I was Jamaican, and they were really warm and welcoming. They were even starting to sing Vibes Cartel and Mavada songs to me, and Do I Know This Tune, or Have You Heard About Damian Marley, Sean Paul, Don Youth. The musical scene was very fruitful. That's what they wanted to know.
So it sounds like I could visit there and be driving and hearing a popcorn or a
Yes,
vibes
big.
or
Yes, Poppy is big here. Poppy is
nice.
big, big.
Any, any of them came, any of the Jamaican reggae artists visited recently for any type of concerts?
No one recently. But what I've heard is that Sizzler Capleton came, which you would expect because Sizzler and Capleton have always been preaching about Africa, so it's
Yes,
more than likely you would expect to hear from them.
yes.
Mhm.
So I will jump to food. Tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about the food and what's the food like there.
Well, it's more to do with beef. So I'm a vegetarian. So you know me. Obviously, you can see my locks is growing. But shout out to my moms who raised me as a vegetarian. So she'd be proud of that.
Okay.
So for me, it's more like salad. So it's rape and stuff. But they also eat something called, well, to us we would say it's like turned cornmeal, but it's called saza. So it's like
Mm,
cornmeal turned up, and they dip it in. They're very big into eating meat here. It's a lot of beef and chicken, you
okay.
know.
So
But
then,
there's no better food than Jamaican cooking. I'm gonna be biased. Yeah.
so then, let me ask you this. I know you're not a meat eater, and so for us carnivores, as they may call them, or meat eaters like me, um,
Yes.
what do you hear people rave about? Like, this is a dish that is just really good.
The one thing that resonated with me is that similar to Jamaica, they eat a lot of oxtail. Um, there's oxtail. There is peri peri chicken because, as you notice, Zimbabwe has that connection with Mozambique, which was conquered by the Portuguese. So you have
Mm,
that peri peri chicken,
okay.
and I think it's starting to get a bit too commercialized because you can see KFC, no McDonald's, obviously, but
Okay. And let me ask you this because you kind of touched on a little bit that Mozambique is next door. There's Curry
Mhm.
and so on. What's the population like? Is it like there's expats there, folks from other countries are there also, or what's
It's a big diverse community. You can have anything from Swedes to Swiss, um, Americans. There's a big expat community.
okay? And
Mhm.
folks, I'm not saying all of Zimbabwe. I'm just saying maybe where
No, yeah.
Where Andres is, that it may be, in a city where there's diverse, population and people.
Mhm.
Language. What's the language?
So it's Shona, but there's Shona, but knowing Zimbabwe, there's different dialects that are spoken. The main one is Shona. The second biggest one is the Bele, which is similar to Zulu language, which is good. But it's a lot of clicking sound with the Zulu language. So
Okay.
I'm still working on my Shona at the minute.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you is there a school you go to and learn it, or are you kind of learning it from the people around you?
I'm learning it more from the people around me. So,
Okay.
you say like Makadi, Iribo, and then slang, you go Bobo. That is like a yardman's way of saying, well, go on. Yeah.
Bobo. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that one. Wagwan Bobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to touch back on the language a little later on. Um, Cost of living. What's the cost of living like there?
It's expensive. It's expensive. Um, but
Average.
being Jamaican, we're versed, right? So go to Barre is like going to downtown for shopping or Coronation Market. So
So you make do with what you can find.
exactly, you
Any
know.
yam?
No, you have to go and you have to run off the plug with a Nigerian for that one, you know.
What about your fruits? What type of fruits you getting?
Everything from grapes to mangoes, even
Okay.
sugarcane.
All right.
Um, yeah. So
So as a vegan, you're a happy camper then. If you're getting at least your mangoes, you're a happy camper.
I'm happy. I'm even starting to grow my own watermelon and stuff in the back garden. You know.
Nice, nice. But back to cost of living. What would you say on the average meal in, you can either break it in US dollars or Jamaican dollars. If you can, what would that average meal at a medium restaurant cost?
I would say between 5 to 10 US. So not too extravagant. It depends what level of class you want to go to. You know what I mean? If
Let
it's if it's
let's say,
like your street vendors that you used to buy from, then you're talking probably about 2 to 5 US. You know?
okay, all right. So I'm gonna jump in because I said dinner. Let's say, you're taking a lady to dinner is where I was going, but what's
Yeah. Okay.
what
Let me
what's
sit up for that.
yes, I know, sit up, you have to sit up for this one. So
Yeah.
um what's the dating scene like? I mean, there is it,
Well, well, I
do
can't.
they find like, are the men, when the men checking a lady, are they blatantly aggressive like they said Jamaican men are? Are they more subtle? And what are the women like? And again, I don't want to get you in trouble. You don't have to answer. You can plead the fifth
No,
if you need to.
well, I'm not pleading the fifth from what I've heard from friends. Um,
A good way to do it.
what I've heard from friends is they're very subtle, and I think if they like you, the women will approach you, and guys vice versa for women. You
Oh, so
know,
women will come up to you and say, I like you?
well, not that forward. Where are you
Okay.
from? You
Okay.
know, I normally get it because they look at me and as a brown man, so they'll be like, "You sure you're Jamaican?" I'm like,
And then when you tell them your name, Andres Castro, they're
I
looking at
know
you like,
it's a different plug.
they're like, you're sure not from Cuba or somewhere else?
Well, that's it. The Spanish bloodline is there, but
Right, right. All right. So what would you say for you was the biggest adjustment you had to make moving to Zimbabwe?
um, for me, I think it's adaptability. You go in with an open mind. Um, Knowing things are rough, but you learn to adapt. And I think coming from Jamaica, we adapt quite easily to many things.
Right.
Anyway, you know.
Yeah, I can attest to that after doing so many of these interviews. How we as Jamaicans just we got to a place and we adapt and excel, and as I always say, we jaminate.
Definitely. Or we move it and we say we're up top in it,
Are there any customs that you found when you got there that you said this is very interesting? It can be anything. I've heard people say the way weddings are done, the way you may introduce yourself to someone, or maybe during Christmas their Christmas custom is different, or their celebrate so anything you can think about that you found very interesting in terms of.
I it's I think it's quite similar to Jamaica, the level of respect you give the grandmas, which they don't say grandma here, they call them go-go's. But
Go go.
go-go,
Okay.
but go-go means something else in Jamaica. So sometimes
Exactly. That's why I'm looking like go go. So
you
you're
know,
saying the level of respect for grandmas.
and when you go into a house, all the males have to sit on one side and the female sits on one side if you're meeting new people or new family. That's tradition. So I learned that pretty quickly, you
Okay.
know. Yes.
So when you're busy, man, when you're not busy, what is that thing in Zimbabwe that you say, you know, I have 2 days or I have a couple days. This is what I'm going to I love doing here in Zimbabwe.
So for me, I tend to try and go on the spiritual realm and try and go and walk in the mountains. Sometimes I take a drive outside to just see the nature. It's not very often you can see monkeys on the side of the road or chimps on the side of the road. You have to hold off on the lions and the wild elephants, you know?
Okay. So if there was one thing that you would say, and I don't want to jump ahead because I think I know what you're going to say because Zimbabwe is known for it, but the one place that folks should visit in Zimbabwe, what would it be?
Well, everyone says Victoria Falls, but there's Nyanga, which
and
is in the
what's
mountains,
and what's
which is in the
Yanga?
mountains. Nyanga is in the mountains. What's the best way to describe? It's almost like Blue Mountains, but you have
Okay.
rivers and lakes, and there's a waterfall there. Um,
Okay.
so I would say for people to go there, they have Kariba, but when I went to Kariba, a friend was like, "I'm like, can I go and swim in the river?" And he's like, "No, there's crocodiles in the river," and it's so
Good
so
thing
you
you
know
jump in.
coming from. Huh?
I said, good
You
thing
know,
you didn't you asked the question because some people see water and they just jump in that water.
yeah, no, no. You know, coming from Jamaica, we used to see in crystal clear water, right?
Right.
So you go in there and you can't really see underneath the water, and then you start to see hippos in the water. You start to double check yourself, you know.
So you're in nature. It sounds like if someone loves nature, it's a great place to hike and a great place to visit for nature walks and so on.
So definitely.
Okay.
There's what they call loads of game parks, like reserves, where you can go and see loads of animals like elephants, lions, hippos, and
All right.
and wild boars, you know,
Oh,
or wild, you know.
so how do you get? I know you're vegan. How do you get your Jamaican fix now? Is there any Caribbean Jamaican type restaurants there, or
No,
you
no,
have
no,
to cook
no.
it yourself?
I cook for myself and I cook for friends, you know.
Okay.
So I always make sure my seasoning is with me, you know.
And what do they think when you cook the Jamaican food? I don't know if you
Yeah.
get any ackee or any of that there.
No, no, no. When I travel again, you know, because I'm due back a visit back home soon.
Right.
So when I'm traveling, I'll stock up, you know.
Okay. So that
Yeah.
leads me, and listen, Andres, thank you for providing us with insight in Zimbabwe. So it leads me to this question, a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You land in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
What is that first thing you're doing when you get off the plane, or that first thing you're going to go eat, or that first, everybody has a different thing when they get out.
Well, it's the first thing. We'll have to see my mommy because you know mommy is important. For me, it's probably have a nice veggie patty from juicy beef patty, some cocoa bread, you know.
All right. So, folks, if you're visiting Andres in Zimbabwe, please take him a veggie or a cup of veggie, freeze them, take him a cup of veggie, juicy beef patty with some cocoa bread.
Definitely.
So, here is how I typically end.
Hmm.
How, and I think you kind of gave me the hello, the WhatsApp. Boba, I think is a WhatsApp. How,
So, well, you normally say makadi, which is like hello. It's like
okay,
our Jamaican way of saying wagwan, you
Wagwan,
know,
Makadi.
makadi,
So
you
can
know.
I add like Macadamia my brethren? add, add a little patois swing to it.
You know, the funniest thing is in the ghetto areas here,
Right.
And we have to give grateful thanks for Bob for opening Jamaica to the world. And I think it's transcended since then that Jamaican music has carried on. In the ghetto areas, dancehall is beat on the regular. You know, I have friends, and I'll have to shout him out. I have my friend who is Nutty O. He's one of the biggest dancehall artists here in Zimbabwe.
Mm.
And I'll tell you what, me and them can converse in patois big
Wow.
time. You
Wow.
know,
Them
you
have
know.
set them have weddy and
No,
session.
no, we don't got that far yet. No, no, no.
It coming though. It coming.
It coming. It would be a good look. You know, it would be a good look out here. You know.
Yeah, amazing how the music has and transcended. I always often say my friend from Zimbabwe says to me that we don't know what we have. We don't know how the music
Mm.
uplifted them before they were independent. He said
Yes.
Sundays music was Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Burning
Yes.
Spear. That was what they listened to on a Sunday evening, and he says that music freed our mind. And so Zimbabwe, yes.
Well, even now, you know, there's the busy signal. There's the Kabaka pyramid. You know, I'm gonna be biased. Dennis Brown is mine, but also, you know, the Sizzlers and the Capletons that is vehemently beaten out in the ghetto streets in Bari. You drive down, you'll even hear some Maseka. I just introduced a few of my friends to some Idonia, you know, because I like Idonia as well. So it's
Right.
introducing, just keeping them up to date with the latest dancehall, you know.
You sound like you're a connoisseur there. You're deep into it, my friend.
Definitely, definitely, you
So
know, and I think it's a big intricate part. I was discussing it with some of my friends back along that do shows and you know doing investment, and I'm like, you know, Jamaicans really need to take a stance and really come back to Africa, even for a visit. You know, I never knew the true meaning of returning to the motherland until you return.
Mm, yeah, I agree. I did a visit and I can't explain. I get goosebumps that time when I think of the visit. It's life changing. Definitely.
Definitely.
So, Andres, again, thank you for providing an insight, telling us your story. So here's how I typically end. How
Mhm.
would I say goodbye in the most unofficial way? You kind of tell us how to say hello. What was it?
Makadi.
Makadi. How do you
Yeah.
say goodbye in the most informal way in Zimbabwe?
Well, me no want to say nothing too bad here now, you know. So,
so, so
you
should
know,
we leave it
so,
at
so,
Makadi?
so, so, no, so normally for me, I normally say, because I'm with friends, I normally say, Tu Nana Mangwana, which is, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Tunana Mangwana.
Mangwana. Yeah.
All right. Tunana Mangwana, my brethren.
Yes, blessings.
Show us some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.